Welcome to this press conference of our S&D group, the first one in this year. So Happy New Year to all of you and a good start for this year. I would like to hand over to our group president, Iratxe García Perez, and then, of course, there's time for your questions. Iratxe.
Thank you. Gracias. Buenos días.
Thank you very much. Good day, everybody. And let me begin, of course, by wishing you all a happy new year and all the very best. And all good luck for tackling all the work that we've got ahead over the next 6 months and throughout 2023. And I'd like to thank the presidency for that. Now, normally we talk about the plenary session, but before I talk about that and about what we are going to be discussing this week, I would like to refer to what the S&D group have been doing when it comes to the response to the cases of corruption that broke out in December. I have already spoken to you and let you know what it is that we are doing and what the state of play is. And I'd just like to let you know a little bit more about the actions taken, and which most of you will, of course, know about. Our clear position is zero tolerance for corruption, and we are fully prepared to cooperate with justice so that we can clarify the situation, what has happened. But we are also, of course, fully aware that we do need to make progress. We've got to improve the instruments that we have for transparency so that we can prevent similar situations occurring in the future, both out in the entire European Parliament and in our group as well. So we've got a series of proposals that we are working on, and today and tomorrow they will be adopted, within our political group. And the work will be open to everybody. We will be taking some of them you already know about, such as, for example, so that we can assess and table measures to improve transparency in this House, and then of the work we do as members. Proposal from the group, and then we will be feeding into the discussion in the European Parliament. We did have a COP meeting, Conference of Presidents meeting last week. A proposal was made by President Metsola. We welcomed it. We thought it was a good basis for discussion, but we think we can go further. We think we can be more ambitious. And with that in mind, we are working on that. Further that to the internal committee for we are also going to be looking at the procedures in our group to see where we may have gone wrong, what mistakes were made, and certainly with a view to the future, so that in the future our work is better guaranteed, and there are better guarantees that this will not happen again. And then there is the point of lifting the immunity of 2 MEPs who are involved or in this, and we want that to happen as quickly as possible. We do want that decision to be taken, and taken, of course, with every guarantee possible. And I also think that we do need to be very clear about what the current allegations are. And if you've got any questions on that, of course, I am perfectly happy to answer. Now, on to the plenary. We are going to be electing a new Vice President of the European Parliament. We have an excellent candidate, Marc-Angel, from the S&D group, who was elected by our group, and we have every confidence that he will get the majority support of this House so that we can work on this work that we have to do to fight against the lack of transparency and corruption. But we do need to carry on making progress. The challenges that we had in November 2022 are still important challenges now. And with that in mind, the Swedish presidency, I have just spoken in plenary, and I've got to go straight back after this, but we made it very clear to them that what we see as the essential elements that we have to work on, the Green Deal and Fit for 55, fighting climate change, but there is the social dimension as well. There was not one single reference in the speech from the Swedish presidency on social Europe, and there is the situation of families in Europe who are suffering because of inflation and price rises, and we've got to work on that. We've also got to work on gender equality, migration policy, where, again, there is not one single proposal in the draft programme of the Swedish presidency. So it's very important that in all these areas we carry on making every effort we can, and then reference also to make sure that we do have fiscal possibilities when it comes to moments of crisis, and then again more that needs to be done on the social pillar and the social rights of people in the union. So that is what I have spoken about and what I think is important in the Swedish presidency. I wanted to make my presentation fairly short because I did realise that there probably would be questions, and I would like to hear from you. I think it is better that we hear from you so that we can have a discussion amongst ourselves here. So the floor is open now for questions. Thank you. Thank you, Iratxe.
Go from the left here. Please introduce yourself. We start in the back and then we go to Eddie. Yes, please. And please introduce your name and medium.
Can I ask my question in Spanish or you prefer in English? Bueno, entonces voy a...
Okay, I come from Bulgaria. I have some questions with regards to Qatargate. Is the S&D group ready to kick out more members of the group if there are cases of corruption? Is there a proposal to expand the investigation beyond Qatar and Morocco? And thirdly, are there cases of corruption or supposed corruption in other groups in the European Parliament as far as you're aware? Similar cases. Thank you.
Bueno,
with regards from suspending people from the group, let me explain the decisions that have been taken up to now. So what we had done is to temporarily suspend those members who initially fell under the scope of the investigation. When you are suspended, you don't have any rights or responsibilities within the group. Now, of course, the situation is different once the Belgian authorities had asked for the waiving of immunity from Andres Cocciolino and Mark Tarabella. So there will be a reaction. We imagine that they will withdraw from the group, and if this isn't the case, then we have internal procedures within the group. So if they do not voluntarily choose to leave the group, then we will make the decision to expel them from the group during this week. Now, in terms of broadening the investigation, we have been very clear, I think. We cannot simply talk about things that are suspected or alleged or not official. It's very important to know what has happened in terms of interference from third countries. We are open to any possibilities, but we do not have any further official information. But what we want is to shed light on this situation, whatever country it may be. So we will put in place whatever is necessary to do this. And if it is necessary to broaden the investigation to other countries, then that will be the case, as long as there is clear evidence that that is so. And with regards to anyone being involved from other political groups, it is certainly not my place to level any accusations to individuals or other groups in such a sensitive matter. I think we need to be very determined in our position when it comes to the defense of transparency and taking a position of zero tolerance when it comes to corruption. I think the majority of this parliament, not just members but staff, are always working in the best interest of the institution and of Europe. So it's certainly not my place to make such statements. There are investigations in place, there are tools that are being used, and when such things are discovered, we will act decisively. Thank you.
So that more people can ask maximum 2 questions, please. Thanks.
Okay. Me llamo Eddie y trabajo para...
My name is Eddie. I work for Politico. I have just one question. Tomorrow there will be a vote on the new vice president, that position. And I would like to know why your group, given everything that happened with Everkylie and Qatargate, why the S&D group ought to hold that position, ought to get the new VP.
Muchas gracias por la pregunta.
Thank you very much for the question. Of course, at the moment, we have a vacancy within the European Parliament Bureau. That vacancy made by somebody who was part of our group. There is an agreement among the political groups in the House that when it came to halfway through the mandate and we distributed roles within the House, and at that moment it was clear that the Socialist group, the S&D group, would have 5 vice presidencies, and that is still an agreement that is false, which is why we have opened the process within our group for an election to put forward the best person. And we have an excellent candidate, and I am absolutely certain that he will get the majority support of the members of the House. That is the procedure. I know, of course, that there are other candidates, but I do want to stress that there was an agreement with EPP, Renew and S&D when it came to the division of responsibilities at the midterm. And we think that we should carry on with that agreement among the 3 political groups. Thank you.
Then
Oui, bonjour, Véronique Lamguin du journal Le Soir.
Véronique from Le Soir newspaper. I have a question with regards to the investigation that is being carried out within your group. Could you explain exactly what you did, how you reviewed all of the activities of the members of your group, checking declarations of travel, for example, and what have the sanctions or punishments been up to now?
Sí, como ustedes saben, y ya...
Yes, as you know, and as we explained previously, over Christmas, decisions were taken. We applied our rules, and clearly the ethical code within the group had not been respected, so we were very clear and suspended that person from the political group. Now, with regards to the investigative committee, we are looking at what the mandate and structure will be of that body, and it will begin its work as soon as possible. This internal body will not, of course, substitute the work of the judiciary or the police. We want to be sure that if one of our procedures hasn't worked, what we can do about that in the future. We want those safeguards in place. We will ensure that that is in place in future for those who hold those responsibility. Of course, the investigation will be led by people who are independent to the group. We will, of course, cooperate as much as possible, the cooperation of the staff, of the members. And of course, we're looking to the future to see how we can improve our work to make sure this doesn't happen again. Thank you.
Hola, buenos días, Iratxe.
Good morning, Iratxe, and Happy New Year. My first question was on the sanctions mentioned by Mazzola this morning on a member and 3 assistants, and I wanted to know whether this was part of what you were talking, the internal investigation on that member of parliament and the Spanish delegation, what sort of process there would be there. Thank you.
Sorry. ¿Puedo hablar en nombre?
Well, I can speak on behalf of the S&D, but not the Spanish delegation of that group. I just want to make that clear. And as the president of the group, I completely respect the sanctions that have been taken, and we will apply that within our group. And from there, we've just heard about this. We don't know exactly what the content of the work is and what of the committee that's taken this decision, but we respect this. We in the group will be applying the same sanction within our group that the European Parliament applies. Thank you.
Yes, Lorne Cook from the Associated Press over here. I just wonder, when you look back, do you feel there was something better that you could have done yourself to avoid this kind of situation when we think about some of the members crossing party lines, etc., you know, voting against policy? But who's in charge there? Could something have been done? Thank you.
Seguro que podríamos haber hecho algo.
Yes, I'm sure that we could have done something, but we need to know what it is we could have done, which is why we're putting in place this committee to investigate. It's difficult now to say that and to look at different members' political positions on one topic or another. We're just generating suspicion based on people's opinions or positions. It may be that they just have those opinions. In our group, as well as other political groups, there are, of course, internal debates, different positions on different topics, and the vote doesn't have to be because of some vested interest or other reason. There needs to be a certain amount of confidence that we are doing our work, that we are thinking about what is best for Europe and defending social democratic values. If we're constantly second-guessing why one person voted one way or not because there might be some possible link to corruption, then our work becomes impossible. What we need is to be resolute in tackling corruption. We need to improve transparency. We need to create trust and confidence in the work of the members, of the staff, of the assistants. So it is important to know how we can improve our work and to make sure that this doesn't happen again and that everybody doesn't constantly fall under suspicion. So it is important that we improve our standards and that we're as clear as possible. Thank you.
Yes, in the back, please.
Hello, Pietro Guastamacchio, ANSA. Quick question. I'm afraid I haven't entirely understood the situation of Mr. Cozzolino and Mr. Tarabella affiliation with the group. You said you're giving them time to resign voluntarily, otherwise you will expel them, or you're still waiting for more information in order to take this decision?
Thank you. As I said, the suspension is a possibility that we have within the group to take away their responsibilities within the group. And that was something we did immediately when we heard about this. And then there was the call for the lifting of immunity. And as president of the group, I do think that we need to go further. We are waiting for a reaction from them to see whether they voluntarily leave the group. And then if that doesn't happen, then I would just like to stress that the group will take the necessary action. But we do have to respect the process and to see what happens in the Bureau and in the group. And we are waiting to hear from them to resign voluntarily. But if not, we will take the decision in line with our own internal rules. Thank you.
One more question, sorry, then we have to take those later. Last question, please go.
Hello, my name is Cătălin Angel from Genștiri, Romania. I want to ask if the S&D Group plans to take new steps to convince the Justice and Home Affairs Council to admit Romania into the Schengen area.
En este sentido, hemos sido muy...
I think we have been very clear. In fact, we have pushed for this within Parliament, the debate within Parliament, letters to Council. I think we have played a leading role as Social Democrats. We have defended Romania's right to be part of the Schengen area. We disagreed with the block imposed by certain countries in Council. We will continue to insist upon that fact. We think it is something which is fair. Romania and Bulgaria are two countries that comply with the criteria to be part of the Schengen area. So we believe it is only fair and that they have every right to be within the Schengen area, and we will continue to work on that. Thank you very much.
Iratxe, thank you, everybody. And of course, if you have more questions, please contact us and we will get back to you. Thank you.